I'm joined by a gentleman who travels by the name of Dangerholm, who happens to make the world's most exquisite customized mountain bikes and, as it happens, e-bikes. Dangerholm, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, I am literally blown away by some of the fine detail on this bike. I won't even begin to try and go through the spec, but talk us through it.
Yeah, so I guess the main point is that this is the world's lightest e-mountain bike so far. 12.90 kilos, including pedals. And that is with a full size for the system, 360 watt-hour battery as well. So,
yeah. So the heart of this bike is the TQ motor, HPR 50, and it's not just a TQ motor, right?
No, it's not. So actually, I had some very good support from TQ on this project. So they saw my crazy ideas, a bit like research and development. So that is why they helped so much. So they actually created, for example, a custom carbon fiber casing for the battery unit.
Seriously?
With shielding and insulation and everything. So this alone saves 206 grams compared to the stock unit. Right. So that's quite significant just for the casing, and it's all the performance, but less weight.
It's also beautiful, right?
It's also beautiful. So it's a bit of a shame to hide it inside the frame, you know?
Yeah.
So that was, of course, one main part of the project. But also a bit of a more hidden detail is that we were joined by Ceramic Speed as well.
Ah, right. I've actually spoken to those guys.
Yeah.
A few upgrades there, possibly.
Exactly. So this is very much at the prototype stage. But the drive unit is actually fully equipped with Ceramic Speed bearings, saving about 40 grams, and also, of course, improving efficiency slightly. So, I mean, this is like tuning.
This is extreme gram saving.
Yeah.
Talking about Ceramic Speed, actually, I noticed you've got an insanely customized derailleur there, right?
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, when you're actually trying to build the world's lightest bike, every detail counts. So you have to look at every little thing. And when it comes to drivetrains, nowadays it's 12-speed most of the time, and that comes with some extra weight. So I wanted to run the bike with 11-speed cassette and chain since it's a bit lighter. So what I did is that I took this part from a road 11-speed derailleur, and the rest is from the modern Explorer 12-speed system that allows for the wide-range cassette. It is then paired to a blip box that is hidden inside the frame here, a SRAM blip box. That is paired to a special shifter from a Swiss brand called Zirbel. So it's just like a little magnet-based system. Super ergonomic, actually. So
that's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that.
And it's quite something. So that system is actually used in some other place, like remotes for e-bikes as well. So it's not completely strange, but
going back to the drivetrain, which we were talking about. This chainring here.
Another prototype.
Of course it is.
Another prototype. So that is from a brand called Garbaruk, and they actually it's been a partner for me for my regular bikes, and I was asking them that I'm doing this project. We need something lighter than a traditional spider setup with the chainring. So this is actually half the weight compared to the traditional setup. Wow. And it's really a cool design because each spoke translates to one of the thick tooth on the profile. So, for example, a 32 will have less spokes than a 36. So it translates all around. So
Wow. Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
I mean, it is such a stunning bike. Do you actually ride it?
Of course, yeah. I haven't ridden this one yet because it was finished Sunday night before the show. Yeah. So I can't really.
How long have you been riding e-mountain bikes for?
I actually got my first one in 2015.
Whoa!
Yeah, so I've actually, people don't know about that, but I was quite the early adopter.
Let's keep going then.
So to keep the tuning theme going, we have the E13 E-Spec cranks for the TQ unit, and they have also been stripped from paint, and it's a surprising amount on there. So I actually think they look better this way with a 3K weave.
You've also stripped all the paint from the frame too, right?
Yeah, so the frame is a standard Scott Lumen in size large, but I stripped the paint and I actually saved about 150, 160 grams. So I understand the perspective that a bike must be beautiful for the consumer, but for me, when you go all out like this, it's more about functionality. But luckily, I think the design works quite well anyway. So,
What about the wheels then, Dangerholm? hold on a minute. Actually, those aren't metal.
No,
Those, what are those made out of?
Yeah, so this is a German brand called Pyrope. So they are synthetic fiber spokes. So if I would have one of those spokes for you, it would feel exactly like string. You could tie a knot.
Yeah.
But the tensile strength is actually higher than for steel spokes. The ride characteristics are slightly different. You have a bit more like comfort and vibration dampening. And it's paired with the Duke rims. So the complete set is 945 grams.
How much?
945.
For the set?
Yeah, and that is with an e-bike approved rear hub.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there's going to be a nice bit of compliance to the wheels on the bike, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing that they sure are stiff. It's not that they are, soft, unrideable wheels. It's just that they have a different feel compared to like a traditional steel spoke wheel.
Have any of you guys ridden wheels like this? I've never even seen wheels like this. Right, where are we going to go next? Should we go brakes or forks or suspension?
Yeah, let's go with the suspension and the brakes here. So
Intent, big fan.
Intent. I've been working with Cornelis, who runs the brand for many years, first as a customer and as a fan, and I mean, I love the stuff he does. And the thing is that they actually ride incredibly well as well. The bike features an Intent Samurai TR fork, which is the 130mm version, standard aluminum steerer, so it's not like something completely crazy. It has the standard Intent damper. But what's cool with the upside-down forks is that they actually make perfect sense for e-bikes.
Yeah.
Because the crown and leg assembly, it's so strong. So this is like a, cross-country trail fork, but it has been tested to ratings like way above like enduro strength. So
I mean, it's possibly I wouldn't say the heaviest part on the bike, possibly.
No, but not far from it. But on the other hand, if you compare it to other forks, it's still lighter. So,
exactly, yeah.
So it makes perfect sense to be on here.
What about stopping then?
Stopping is, of course, as important.
Oh, wow.
The lever feel. That is what you're paying for.
Yeah. No, that is what you're paying for.
Yeah. So actually,
if I could only give you guys an insight into how that brake felt, how would you describe it?
It's like, let's just say that they make some other hydraulic brakes feel like mechanical brakes because the lever feel is so smooth, so you get a lot of like feedback from them and control. But also the stopping power is like incredible. So it's not just about, they are like the lightest ones on the market, but it's not just about the weight. It's like how they feel when under braking and power.
What make of the brakes?
It's Trick Stuff. And
it's Trick Stuff.
Yeah, and this is the Piccolo Carbon model. So I opted to run the regular 2-piston version because on a lightweight bike like this, I judge it to be enough. And then we get to the fancy bits here.
I mean, the caliper on this is, well, I put my thumb there, look, give you guys some idea of the scale of it.
Yeah, and also the brake disc next to it. It's quite something.
So what have we got? They go 120s on there, 140s?
So it's 180s. Yeah.
Those are 180?
Those are 180s because, stopping power is important. I come from a downhill background, so I want good brakes and stuff, So those are from an Italian brand called Carbon TI. And as the name suggests, that's what they work with mostly. So it has a carbon fiber spider and a steel brake surface. And the benefit is, of course, that you can have more steel and the brake surface, but still at a low weight.
What about the pads? Do you go for any sort of custom pads in there, or?
That's the thing, that Trick Stuff actually has some extremely impressive pads.
Right.
So I'm using the stock pads, and those are my favorites on anything.
Moving to the integrated bar and stem on there.
Yeah.
I can't actually. It's by
Darimo.
Darimo.
It's a Spanish brand, and
From?
They come from like a true motorsport background, I think even Formula One engineering at some point. But the thing is that the cool thing about Darimo is that they're quite a small brand and you can actually have your stuff custom made. So for example, if you come and say, I have an e-bike, I weigh 90 kilos, I want something light, but I want something strong, they will actually make you a custom layup.
Wow.
So it's like, it's not just, the stupid weight-winning thing, it's like actual functionality to it. But that combo weighs just 174 grams in 70mm.
174 grams.
Yeah, so it's light, and it still has a 90-kilo rider.
Do you have like a preference of the rise and sweep of your bars or anything? Or?
Actually, I've been riding quite a lot with just 6 degrees back sweep on many bikes. Yeah. So I actually sort of like the feeling. It's more, like bench pressing, I guess. But
Do you do a lot of bench pressing?
more squats.
What can you squat?
Well, my PB from some years ago was 200 kilos.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I was a few kilos heavier myself then.
That's
but,
not bad then, is it?
Yeah, that's that. But I mean,
Bar width?
bar width it's actually 70-40 on this one. But I might want to touch on the subject of like, this is of course a really cross-country oriented spec, just to make it the lightest possible.
Yeah.
So when I get home from the show, I actually gonna assemble it in a second version, the same bike, and do like a trail version. With a bit beefier wheels and tires, and you know, a riser cockpit 70-60, and a 150 millimeter dropper. And that bike will still be like below 14 kilos.
It's actually crazy. I'm still trying to get my head around the weight of this. I'm thinking like a mid-travel mountain bike was like 15 kilos or something like that. I'm looking at the grips here now. I've got to say, the first time I came across these type of grips was with Nico Vulio's. Nico Vulio's, one of the greatest downhill racers ever. When he did enduro, he actually had the foam grips. What make are these on here?
These are from Extralight, an Italian brand. So usually I run the Synchros one, which are slightly more comfortable, but those weigh just 10 grams a pair. So on this bike, it makes sense.
These numbers.
Yeah. And of course, there's also some small personal tuning, like the suspension remote is sort of homemade. It's a heavily modified Scott twin lock for the rear shock. So, and then the dropper is controlled by on the right side on this bike, just to allow for the rear suspension remote.
Talking about the dropper, I've just had a quick look at the seat. I mean, talk about it doesn't get much more minimalist than that, right?
No, but the thing is that. You would think that all carbon seats are super uncomfortable, but the thing is that a well-made carbon fiber seat is actually like it's flexible, like a leather saddle. So this is more like a Brooks, you know.
That's a full carbon fiber seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Saddle, sorry.
So you have a lot of flex that takes dampening, and then also since you don't have you have less friction. So instead of like getting chafing, your bibs are sliding on the seat.
Makes sense.
So in many occasions, if I were to choose like padding or no padding, I would go no padding.
Wow.
But it's of course a bit more important that you get the right shape and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's attached to a quite special dropper as well. It's a Swiss brand called Yep Components, and this one is the 80 millimeter version. So it weighs around, this one weighs 332 grams. And that can be compared to regular posts being like 500, 600, 700 grams.
Do you actually know the weight of every component on this bike?
Almost. But that's just me spending too much time on bikes, you know.
I mean, people are going to be keen to know about your choice of tire. Then, obviously, tires where there's huge weight savings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you know, maybe an enduro tire weighs around about, just for example, I think 1.8 kilos.
Yeah.
Oh, have I got that right?
1.2 is like normal enduro down tire weight. So
what have we got here?
Yeah. So this is, since it is the like cross-country spec. And sure, where I live, there are rocks, but there are not many sharp ones. So I can get away with, you know, some really lightweight tires. So this is a tire from Kenda. They are 620 grams, so they are really light for a 2.4 tire. But they still have, you know, sensible thread pattern and stuff like that. So for like cross-country use, these actually make perfect sense.
This is going to be an absolute flying machine.
It's a rocket. So yeah, I can't wait to get it rideed.
And I guess the great thing with the TQ is like, you know, there's no resistance when you get past 25 kilometers an hour.
And that was, you know, sort of the idea as well, to build an e-bike that actually is a rideable bike if you run out of power as well.
100%,
Yeah, so I mean, that makes a bit of sense, you know, even if it's not a traditional way to build a bike, it's maybe the future in a way.
Yeah. On the subject of tires then, what have we got here?
Yeah, so
inside.
At this point, the bike is actually set up with tubes. And now you might think that I'm a caveman living in the Stone Age, you know?
That's me.
But yeah. To surprise you, I actually do still ride tubes a lot.
Really?
Yeah, for gravel, I often ride tubes because the practicality of it in some aspects, and also that's the thing. It's not like traditional, you know, butyl tubes. It's actually
of course it's not.
No, so these weigh just 42 grams. And the thing is that, I mean, tubes, you also have the aspect of having them as a spare. So that is why these super light tubes actually make a lot of sense, because they take up like no place or weight in your jersey or in your backpack.
I'm trying to think what weighs 42 grams.
Yeah, exactly. It essentially...
What's the company that makes the tubes?
It's called Revolup. It's a German brand.
Okay, right.
Yeah, but I will also run the bike tubeless.
Yeah.
Well, the weight will be the same with tubeless, because as a final touch, there's a slightly lighter cable from TQ that will offset the weight between tubes and tubeless.
Talking about cables, I mean, this what's going on here with the bottle cage?
Yeah, so this is a quite special thing. It's a super small brand from Germany called Carbon Works, and it's essentially a hollow carbon tube. So it weighs just 9 grams, and that's including the screws. And still, it's plenty strong. So to give you some perspective, this is actually the reinforced version. They did some 6-gram ones without the plastic coatings that makes it more durable against scratching and stuff like that. So.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what? I realised we've been talking to you now for probably 10 minutes. I don't think we've even mentioned the word titanium yet.
No, there is.
I mean, everyone would associate lightweight bikes. But I mean,
yeah, but there is some titanium on here, and the most significant part is custom-made titanium mounting bolts for the drive unit. So the stock bolts weigh 62 grams, and these are hollow titanium bolts weighing just 30 grams. And they're made by an Italian brand called Meti, small one-man show, and make some top-quality stuff. So all prototype, it's nothing you can get, unfortunately, yet, but
there is. It's mostly carbon there on this bike, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about the pedals? Crank Brothers?
Yeah, the pedals are Crank Brothers Egg Beater, the lightweight version. So of course the titanium construction there, and I mean, it's an excellent choice for cross-country riding, but for the trail version, I will put something on with a bit more stability. Yeah,
no big flat pedals on this bike though, right?
Well, you never know. I mean, take it to some closed bike park, and that's the thing, because, you know, some people think that a bike like this can't be ridden hard, but you have to remember that building a custom bike, I try to build them to be usable for me. So it's like, it's meant to hold up for me riding the shit out of it at 75 kilos. So sure, someone else can possibly break it, but you know, I've taken my cross-country bikes to the bike park, and it's like, that's sort of the point. It's not meant to be a garage queen. I mean, I get bad conscience
give it some good healthy abuse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What about some fine details then, Dangerholm? What else have we got? Axles or something
there's actually like a little signature Dangerholm product as well. First time it's ever shown. It's actually a top cap by a German brand called Radox, and I think the screw weighs like 0.9 grams or something. It's like, even the screw for the top cap is engineered to be as light as possible. And also the seat clamp is worth mentioning. It's essentially just carbon strands being wrapped around. So the seat clamp weighs 3.9 grams. And to put that in perspective, a regular seat clamp on your bike is maybe like 16 grams. So, you know, every bit counts.
I mean, this is like super, super fine detail everywhere. Nothing has been missed, right?
I sure hope not.
Wow! Just before we close, Danger, I'm actually seeing that there's, you still got practical things going on this bike.
Yeah.
Like the chainstay protector there.
I did cut a little bit off though to save a few grams.
Wow! Hey, thanks so much for showing us around this world's lightest e-mountain bike. Introducing us to some brands which we've not heard of before. The fine detail has actually blown my mind. I can't believe you actually remember some of the weights of some of those products. And looking forward to seeing you ride this. It's going to be a flying machine, right?
It's going to be, and it's not going to be my last e-bike either. So I hope to see you soon again, you know?
Thanks so much.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
Yeah.